What up, John in the middle here. Had a thought about 4 things you should be doing with your creative child right now. 1, ask them questions about their artwork. I don't know how it is in not black households, but growing up in a black household, particularly a Jamaican household, my art always felt like it was a bother. It didn't seem like anyone was regrettable about the fact that I was an artist, but it felt like there was other things they would have preferred that I was before an artist. And I was always reminded of that, right? Even that perfect example, growing up in my grandparents' home, if they even see me drawing, they will both be like, make sure you don't get no paint on that bed. I don't have no paint out. I don't care. Make sure you don't get no paint on that bed. Or I wasn't allowed to draw in the living room. That was a big thing. Never could draw in the living room. I remember another time my granddad was watching me draw, and we had this like system where when he's about to go out, my granddad from the South, so he one of them dudes that always wear a hat, right? So he would keep his caps in my room, and he would ask me to pass him. So this day he was asking me to pass him a hat, and he was watching me paint. And it was some unusual stuff as usual when I'm not doing portraits. And he was just like, why don't you ever paint any real art? Like a bowl of fruit or, something normal. No, all this weird stuff. I remember like it was yesterday. Not all this weird stuff. And, it just seemed like it was a bother. Right? So why would you ask auspicious questions, positive questions about something that you consider to be negative? Right? So I never was afforded the opportunity to be asked about the kind of things that I was creating. Right? And then also I think black people barely have time to black people got a lot of stuff going on. So if you have a black parent that knows about art enough to ask their kid about like what they're making or whatever, or introduce them to art, that's a blessing. But most of us don't come from homes like that. Most of us weren't raised like that. So, another reason I'm making a video like this, because you should know what to ask your child, right? Like, why did you make this? Why is this color? What did you use to make it? You used the crayon? That's crazy. Always big them up. Always big them up. Why'd you use crayon? Why'd you use pencil? That's fire. That's fire. And then boom, number 2, participate. That's fire. You know what's crazy? You should try that with the colored pencil. Because you did it with the marker before. It might look different with a colored pencil. Show me. Let me see. I can't name one piece that my granddad actually is like, man, that's hard. That's whatever. That's cool. I've never heard that. And a lot of us haven't. Enjoy the work with them, right? And then you gotta feed them references, inspiration. Where does the references and the inspiration live? Outside. What does that mean? Number 3, take your kid to shit. Take them to the museum. Take them to the aquarium. Take them to the botanical. Take them to the library. Take them to a physical library with physical books. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. In that neighborhood, if you know, the big Jamaica Library that's across the street from the terminal with the patty shop all the way down. You got the jewelry spot and you got the Coliseum right there with the barbershop. Anyway, I used to go in there. Like, my mom was a single parent, so sometimes I would get out of school and she'd tell me to go to the library. And I got to read the Dragon Ball Z manga. I got to just read a bunch of shit. Like, I would just get there, get a bunch of books, sit down and just flip through shit. And anytime I had like spare change or whatever, you pay for the copies. I would scan these like the comics or whatever, this or that, the Boondocks. Get the copies, take it home, read it at the crib. Take it home, use it for inspiration for something else. And then my mom would get there to pick me up and she would go to the movie section downstairs. She rent the movies. Then we end up watching the movies. just saying the library is such a resource, and if you utilize it the right way as a parent, you open your child up to so many different possibilities and inspirations and points of reference. And the younger the better. The younger they are when you get that stuff to them, the more it's gonna stick. You know what I mean? What else? Number 4, encourage them to constantly think creatively. Encourage your children, the creative children, to constantly think creatively, but not just about art, about how to utilize that art. I've been talking to y'all so long, I ain't enjoying it. How to utilize that art to make a life for themselves. Don't use your art to hide from the world. Like, your art is best utilized, in my opinion, as a tool. Right? It's best utilized as a tool. And if you see it as a tool, like a hammer or a jigsaw or a tape measure, or this or that, screwdriver, you or a compass, you can utilize it for so much more and get so much more out of it. That's for you. That's not even like something that's outside of you, or outside of what's supposed to be for you. It's like, nah, this is on your path. This is for you. But you got to utilize that tool first. Utilize the tool. Don't idolize the tool, right? Don't sit there with the ruler and just be like, man, my precious. Oh my God, look at the ruler. It got the marks and it got the metal, and oh my God, it's so precious. That's what a lot of artists is doing with their art. Instead of being like, damn, you know what's crazy is I can fold this motherfucker out, and I can get to measuring shit, and I can get to figuring out how tall some shit is, or how, you know what I mean? And that's what this is designed for. It's a tool. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be underutilized. And that's what I think about that. 4 things you need to do with your creative child right now. Always be supportive. Ask questions. Participate with your child. Feed their inspiration by taking them to see what is out there in life. Museums, libraries, botanical garden, aquariums, parks, long walks, traveling to different cities, walking down the street. And lastly, always encourage them to think creatively, to make solutions, and to utilize their gift as a tool. Don't idolize, utilize. Let me know what you think in the comments and all that. Like, comment, what's the other one? Share. Let me know what you think.